This has Rams fans fired up. They're defying expectations so far throughout the first week of training camp. We have 6 players to get into and talk about just how well they have been playing throughout the entirety of camp. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button as we are still on the road to 4,000 subscribers. We're around 80 away right now, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so we can get that goal. As well as click the notification bell, click all so you get notified and do not miss whenever we post our daily Rams Digest videos covering all things Rams. And like this video for the first week of training camp being in the books. The pads come back on tomorrow for the Rams, so like this video for the anticipation of that. I know I can't wait for it as a Rams and a football fan in general. And now we have to get into our main story of today from Rams Wire, talking about 6 players for the Rams that have been awesome to start off training camp. We're going to head into this one right now. Every practice counts during training camp, especially for players who might be on the roster bubble or vying for one of the few available starting spots. The Los Angeles Rams have gotten some standout performances from a handful of players already, and there's still a week of practice to go at Loyola Marymount. Gathering reports out of camp from this in attendance, as well as reading into comments from coaches and players in their press conferences, here are 6 players who've seemingly stood out in a positive way during the first week of practice. So what is good to note here is that Rams Wire does state their criteria and how they came up with these 6 players, using notes from people in attendance, gathering reports, reading into comments from coaches and players. I think are all of the best ways to find these players that have been so dominant to start off training camp. And Blake Corum is the first player on our list, the second-year running back out of Michigan, 3rd-round pick last year. From the videos coming out of camp, Corum looks like he's got plenty of juice out of the backfield. He looks quick and explosive, which is something the Rams need more of from their running backs. Yes, that is so true. Blake Corum adding a more explosive aspect to this running back room, which I think Kyren's going to be better at, and we know Jarquez Hunter was drafted for this exact reason, to add some more explosiveness to this running back room and the offense as a whole. We've heard Sean McVay and Mike LaFleur talk about just how much they want to diversify the offense, take the bandage off, really kind of have no limits in terms of what types of plays they're going to call. And this is a key part of that offensive plan really trying to come together right here. Blake Corum didn't really play as much as I thought he would as a rookie. I know he did have the arm injury at the end of the year, but that seems to be all healed up right now. And for Corum, if he can take a few extra snaps per game and allow Kyren to rest a little more, especially in the first half, so he has more legs and to be fresher in the second half, like I'd be okay with Kyren having maybe 2 to 3 fewer carries per game because we have some more running back production from Corum, from Jarquez Hunter, in order for him to maintain that explosiveness and maybe even fumble the ball a little bit less. Kyren Williams remains the starter, but Corum is going to push for snaps more than he did last year as a rookie. That's great news for the Rams as they try to keep everyone fresh and healthy for the duration of the season, and here's Corum breaking off a long touchdown run with some nifty cuts in the hole. Again, these videos I cannot play for you. If you type in Rams training camp on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called, you will probably find some of these videos. I did watch this video, or if you go to the Rams Wire article itself, you will be able to see all of these videos. But yes, Blake Corum, I saw this video. Really nice run in that video. He looked a lot more explosive. He looked more comfortable. It's his second training camp now. He knows he has a spot on this team coming into this year, and he should be a key piece of this offense. Comment down below right now what your thoughts are on Blake Corum. I made him the thumbnail of this video because I really do think he's kind of the missing link, because you look at a lot of teams that have running back or 2 guys that can run, Hurts and Saquon. Again, the quarterback thing makes that a little different. Same thing with Lamar and Derrick Henry, but you look at teams with good running back duos. You think of that Dolphins team with Mostert and Achane that ended up making the playoffs. Like, that was one of the main reasons why, that they had a really nice run duo. The Raiders this year with Mostert and Genti, I think we'll have a duo. The Chargers with Marion Hampton and Najee Harris. A lot of these good teams, they have these running back duos. The Vikings, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. We'll kind of see all about how that works. The Niners, I think, could have a nice duo as well with McCaffrey and Isaac Garindo. So we'll kind of see how exactly that works heading into this season. But I really do believe Blake Corum is on the verge of not like breaking out into being a star, but breaking out into being a really solid RB2 for this team. And we have to talk about Nate Landman, the linebacker, a little bit. I talked about him a lot yesterday, so we're going to kind of breeze through this a little bit. Landman has been everything the Rams expected and more. He stood out in practice as a leader on defense, wearing the green dot as the signal caller, and an essential role on every team. One that requires a player to stay on the field for just about every snap. Yeah, if you're wearing that green dot, you're on the field every single snap. Now, I did mention that maybe you have multiple guys who were able to wear that green dot. I don't know if you could switch green dot wearers or signal callers in game. That would be cool if you can. I don't know. I'm sure if an injury would be the way to, knock on wood that doesn't happen, but I'm sure injury would probably be the only way you'd be able to. But if they're able to have multiple guys be comfortable wearing that green dot, calling the signals, that would be so key for this Rams defense in Chris Shula. Landman has a nose for the football, as evidenced during his time with the Falcons, and that's carried over to Rams camp. He made one of the highlight plays Saturday when he punched the ball out of Davis Allen's arms to create a turnover on defense. I talked about that yesterday. Yeah, that was an amazing play. There was no practice today, so there really are no new videos today. Next practice for the Rams is tomorrow. They have an off day today. Stafford obviously won't be there, but we'll get to see them in pads, which will be really, really nice to see. My co-host will have the breakdown for you from that practice tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for that and like this video for the pads going back on. But yeah, Landman, I'm really looking forward to seeing him in pads as well as Corum. Just trying to see how Corum bounces through contact, see if he stays explosive. And for Landman, what else can he do besides he has a knack for the football, which I like. But let's see what else he can do. I'd like to see him, getting deep on the run defense, helping stop the run, because that's really what the Rams need to improve on is the takeaways and most importantly stopping the run. Because now we have some more to get into with these players as well. With Emmanuel Forbes Jr., the cornerback for the Rams. Forbes was on the roster bubble at the start of the offseason, but he's pushing his way onto the roster. He's had a great start to camp after bulking up in the weight room, playing like the ball hog he was in college. The Rams receivers are all tough assignments, but Forbes has more than held his own in practice, even when getting reps with the first-team defense. If Forbes could take the next step as a defender, he'll be extremely valuable to the Rams this season, potentially even rising into a starting role. I don't know about a starting role, because you already have Witherspoon, and you have Darius Williams, who I think should be the starters on this team, and you got a guy like Cobie Durant, who can play in the slot along with Quentin Lake. So I do think it's going to be tough for Forbes to get a starting spot, but he is 6'3". He's tall. I've seen all the reports that he's been in the weight room. He bulked up a little bit because that was a key thing for him coming out of the draft a couple years ago. He was like a 165-pound corner, which is definitely not great for any position in the NFL, maybe besides special teams or a deep threat wide receiver. You don't really want to be 165 in the NFL because he will get clobbered, but he's been in that weight room. He's been playing well throughout training camp and OTAs. I have Forbes as most likely going to make the roster now. I didn't have it originally, but I am getting more and more sold each day of what he does in practice. And I definitely see him being a valuable asset to this Rams team. And I want you to comment down below right now what your thoughts are on Emmanuel Forbes and how he can help the defense. Because having a 6'3" guy playing corner, you don't see that very often. You see taller corners at 6'1", 6'2", but a 6'3" corner is so rare that I think he has that unique skill set with that height. If he's being a ball hawk, he could help generate takeaways as well. And maybe he can be used like a Derwin James type of player. With him building up that weight, maybe you can have him rush the passer a couple times a game too as well. See what Chris Shula can do with that. That would be amazing for this Rams defense. And now we have wide receiver Jordan Whittington. I've talked about him a lot this offseason. Tutu Atwell might still be the front runner in the race for wide receiver 3, but Whittington is seemingly neck and neck. Whittington made a catch in double coverage on the first day of camp Wednesday and scored a long touchdown on a deep pass Saturday. So he's making plays left and right. And that's really all you want to see out of these players right now is who's making the big plays in camp, because Whittington is kind of in a battle for wide receiver 3. I think it is going to be split between Atwell and Whittington. I do give the edge to Atwell because, again, he is on that $10 million a year contract. But Atwell has had some drop issues so far early in camp, which Whittington does not seem to be having. And I also forgot to mention, going back to Emmanuel Forbes here, that he's also in a battle for a cornerback spot. More so probably cornerback 4, because I do think he's on the roster, but he's definitely in that spot for who's going to get some more trusted playing time throughout the regular season as well, along with Jordan Whittington, who we're currently on right now, both guys in somewhat positional battles. Whittington and Atwell are completely different players in terms of their skill sets, which should allow both of them to play meaningful roles this season. But with Whittington's combination of quickness, physicality, and ability to create yards after the catch, will be hard to keep on the bench. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to be quite difficult to keep Whittington on the bench, especially as the season goes on. Because again, Atwell's another guy, a smaller guy, where I don't believe he has as much use as a guy like Whittington does. Whittington being a little taller, a little heavier, I think has more uses, and he's more versatile than Atwell in the route tree that he can run. Now, Atwell he can do jet sweeps with as well, but I like Whittington. He's going to be a better blocker than Atwell as well, and especially on run plays, I do think he can see some playing time there as well, especially if the O-line is weaker. Again, Alaric Jackson has been back at practice in a limited fashion, but if that O-line starts off a little weak to start the year, I could definitely see Whittington being really, really used in the blocking game as well. And comment that down below as well, your thoughts on the Whittington versus Atwell battle. And now we also have Cobie Durant to talk about, as well the other corner. Durant is a player to watch in the secondary, in part thanks to his versatility in the slot and on the outside. He's off to a fantastic start in training camp, breaking up multiple passes in the first day of practice and continuing to stand out in the next 3 days. Yeah, we know Cobie Durant is going to be that slot corner. Quentin Lake is another guy who can do that, but I do believe Quentin Lake is going to be used more as a safety. Again, he's like the guy that could kind of play everywhere, but I do think he's going to be most used as a safety and then a slot guy. That does kind of take out some playing time for Cobie Durant. Maybe Cobie Durant switches off with Lake at safety, although I don't know if I really like that too much as the regular season goes on, but I like Cobie Durant. I've been a Cobie Durant fan. I think he's a very, very valuable piece to this Rams secondary when we need a guy to play in the slot, especially if you already have Quentin Lake playing in the box safety role. If we need somebody in the slot, Cobie Durant is going to be that guy along with Quentin Lake. A very, very valuable piece to this defense. Neither Akella Witherspoon nor Darius Williams plays in the slot, so if the Rams need a defender on the inside while Quentin Lake plays safety, Durant might be their guy. No matter where he lines up, the Land Shark seems to make plays in coverage. First off, amazing nickname, the Land Shark. Leave a like on this video for that nickname. I mean, that's an absolutely amazing nickname, the Land Shark. And also, comment down below some of your other favorite nicknames in sports. I want to know, because there are some good ones out there. So I want to know what you guys think of those as well. And yeah, he's going to make plays. That's what he does. Cobie Durant is a playmaker. He's a baller out there in the secondary. So important to this team. And for Chris Shula's defensive versatility as well, because as much as he can move around Quentin Lake, it would be key to have both Quentin Lake and Cobie Durant on the same page out there at the same time as well. And now we have to go on to our final player of the video, and that is wide receiver Konata Mumpfield. Mumpfield is a 7th round pick rookie who plays a position the Rams are fairly deep at, so he's got his work cut out for him. He's standing out early with some solid days of practice, including a good performance on Saturday where he was busy catching a bunch of passes. Again, Mumpfield has not really been working with the ones. He's been doing a lot of work with the second team unit, which is good to see that he has moved up to the second team unit with Stetson. I've seen him make some good plays on video. I was a Mumpfield fan heading into the draft. I like him on this Rams team. I do think he's going to make the roster, although as you know, I'm a Mario Williams guy. That's my guy. I'm very high on Mario Williams. I remember watching him at USC. Tulane, he was good there as well. So I think those two guys are kind of battling for that last main receiver spot, along with Britton Covey and Xavier Smith, who pretty much have been on the field basically together doing their special teams kick and punt returning drills. So we'll see who makes it out of those two. He might need to earn his stripes on special teams first before getting the opportunities on offense, but he's pushing to at least make the 53-man roster. Well, I think he's on the 53-man roster. As we did a video around a week ago, I did, talking about who's going to make the roster, another Rams Wire article. So after this video, if you missed that, go back and watch that prediction. But I do think Mumpfield is a lock to make this Rams roster. I'm high on him. Again, I think you can never have too many bodies on the special teams unit. Again, if he makes his way on the special teams and plays well, he'll have more of a role in the offense. But I do like the fact that he's putting out some good tape, because if the Rams do cut him, you have that good tape out there. Another team can easily pick you up, even if it's on the practice squad or you make it at the end of the roster to be a special teams guy there. But you always got to make sure you're trying in those reps, and that's exactly what Konata Mumpfield is doing. And I do believe he should be on this 53-man roster, and comment that down below right now as well, what you think on that, because I love the fact that Mumpfield is showing a lot of promise early. That Devontae Adams effect seems to be rubbing off on him beautifully. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 4K. Right now, we're about 80 away, so make sure to subscribe so we hit our goal. And make sure to turn on that notification bell, click the bell, and click all so you do not miss and get notified whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest videos covering all things Rams. This is your spot for Rams news. So make sure to do both of those things. Make sure to like this video as well for training camp being officially done for the first week and the pads coming on tomorrow, as well as the Lance Shark nickname. I mean, that's a great nickname. Comment down below some of your favorite nicknames. Probably one of mine's got to be Big Christmas, Kenzie Noel and the Cleveland Guardians. That's got to be a good one. You know that there is a ton. You got D-Train, Dontrell Willis from the Marlins is another good one. Again, go for some other sports. I feel like baseball's got a lot of nicknames, and try to go for some other sports there as well. And comment down below your thoughts right now on the Blake Corum resurgence here, because I do think his rookie year is a little bit not what we expected, but I think this year is going to be a big part of the offense. And leave down below your thoughts on the Emmanuel Forbes and Cobie Durant roles for this team as well as Nate Landman. What you think about him wearing that green dot and Mumpfield should he make the team? I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I'll see you soon for another one. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great rest of your day.